What's going on, guys? My name's NeBo and welcome back to Blackwatch Intel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my top 5 tips for Torbjorn and how you can become a better Torbjorn player. Before we get into the top 5 tips, I want to go over Torbjorn's abilities so you get an understanding of how his kit works. Assuming you guys don't know nothing about this character, so we can start this from the ground up. Torbjorn's Rivet gun has 2 modes, a primary fire and a secondary fire. The primary fire shoots a single shot rivet at long range, dealing out 70 damage per shot. The secondary fire is a shotgun projectile. It shoots molten metal from the gun in a short, close range burst, dealing out 6 to 15 damage per pellet. Torbjorn has a melee weapon, and that is the Forge Hammer. The Forge Hammer has a multi-purpose use to build, upgrade, and repair turrets. It can also be swung as a weapon, dealing out 55 damage per hit. Torbjorn's next ability is the turret, and the turret can be placed mostly anywhere on the map, acting as an enemy tracking autocannon. The turret has levels, and starting out when you put it down is level 1. The level 1 cannon has a single cannon barrel and has a health of 150. Now, using the Forge Hammer to upgrade it to level 2, it'll have a second cannon barrel and the health of it is at 300. The duration of the turret will stay up until it is destroyed, and in my opinion, the turret acts as a 7th player on your team. Torbjorn can generate armor packs for his allies and himself to pick up and absorb incoming damage. The armor packs themselves have 75 armor on top of your existing health. The armor is created by collecting scrap or by his passive ability, Scrap Collector, which generates scrap over time. It takes 50 scrap to make 1 piece of armor, and Torbjorn can hold up 200 scrap in total. And for Torbjorn's ultimate ability, that is Molten Core. Molten Core does multiple effects while used. Torbjorn gains 300 armor but does not refill any lost health. His Rivet Gun attack speed increases to 50%. His Forge Hammer attack speed increases by 50%. Also, any turrets that are at level 2 upgrade automatically to level 3, increasing the health of the turret to 800. It also has an attack boost, increased fire rate, range, and gains missiles. When the ultimate is over, all buffs are reverted. Torbjorn will lose all the gained armor and buffs. His turret will turn back to level 2. While all this is going on, the Molten Core lasts for 12 seconds, making Torbjorn a lethal killing machine while in Molten Core. Now you guys know everything about Torbjorn's kit. Let's put everything that we just learned into the game. Tip number 1, knowing your counters. And the reason why I say know your counters is that Torbjorn actually is countered by a lot of heroes, but it doesn't mean that these weaknesses can't be your strengths. And the reason why I say this is that if you know your weaknesses, you can set up your turrets and position yourself accordingly to make these weaknesses your strengths. So Torbjorn is actually countered by Pharah, Hanzo, Reaper, Junkrat, Zarya, Widowmaker, and Soldier 76. Occasionally Sombra if she can hack your turret. But the reason for all these are the range. The range over the turret itself. The turret only has so far of range that it can detect other heroes. Pharah, Hanzo, Junkrat, Widowmaker, they can literally snipe all the way across the map and take out your turret. And with that, you can change your positioning and your turret accordingly, reducing the distance between you and the long-range attackers. Now, Torbjorn is actually really good in close-range combat. He does have a single shot that shoots long range and can possibly take out snipers as well if you have a really good shot. But if anybody comes into the short range of Torbjorn, they're going to get dropped. His shotgun does so much damage, and he's really good against Zenyatta, Lucio, Mercy, Tracer, and Winston. Especially Winston because he's so big, and when those shotgun blasts go off, Winston is instantly taken down. Zenyatta literally can get hit twice, he'll be taken out. Lucio can't heal fast enough in order to, take these blasts. Tracer and Genji, they have a hard time. If there is actually a good Tracer and a Genji, they'll take out your turret first. but they have a hard time managing between the turret and you as well. So either way, they're gonna take out your turret and then have you shooting at them, or they're gonna shoot at you and your turret's gonna take them out. So knowing these counters can help you out in the long run, help your team out in the team fight, and help you play as a better player. This reflects a little bit on the last tip, knowing your counters and also positioning yourself accordingly, and that is your turret position itself. A lot of Torbjorn players place the turret on the point or in the back where, you know, you need it, and which is fine, but at the same time, you're not gonna build up your ult charge that quick. What I like to do is position the turret in the front or near their gate before they come in and attack on the point. Now, this will do a little bit of damage and also increase your ult charge. When I place down the turret in these spots, I'll get anywhere from 15 to 20 ult charge right off the bat. And this is a huge boost because you'll get an advantage over top of the enemy team getting your ult that quick and, you know, taking them out. With positioning the turret, I would say get sneaky with it, putting it in spots that you wouldn't normally see, spots that the turret can see and the line of sight of the attackers won't be able to. So they'll take that incoming damage and you know, actually help out your team in a team fight as well, because they're gonna have to focus on the turret and what's going on the front line as well. Armor prioritization. I see a lot of Torbjorn players that don't prioritize armor or even hand out armor that often, and it is crazy because Torbjorn can pick up scrap from fallen enemies and his own teammates, creating it into armor packs, and you can constantly hand it out. Also, at the same time, he has his passive ability, Scrap Collector, and that constantly regenerates more scrap in order for you to make armor packs. So if you're gonna play Torbjorn effectively, you're gonna have to hand out armor and prioritize the armor to certain heroes. And the first heroes that you need to prioritize is your healers. Hand them out to the Mercies, the Lucios, the Zens. They need that armor in order for them to stay alive longer. And next in line for prioritization of the armor packs would be your DPS. A lot of the DPS has 200 health and they need that extra, you know, armor for them to take on a fight, and it helps out a lot. Trust me, that 75 plus armor is amazing for your flankers or anybody that's on the front line, you know, taking damage. The last prioritization would be your tanks. The tanks themselves already have 500 plus armor, and you know, that 75 does help, but you know, they're last in mind because they have so much health and armor itself that they don't really need that extra 75 off the bat. Definitely give it to your healers and your DPS. And finally, the prioritization would be yourself. But depending on the situation, I like to do it, you know, giving my armor to the healers, then myself, so I stay up a little bit longer, then the DPS, then the tanks. And one more thing about armor packs, if everybody on your team already has armor, and you're generating your armor and you're collecting scrap and you already have all this scrap in your inventory, you can keep on making armor packs, but send it on the point. It will stay there, and anybody that gets hit or loses their armor from a fight can come back to the point and regenerate it with your armor packs. It's always a good practice to constantly keep the armor flowing. Never hold off on sending the armor out. Tip number 4, don't babysit. I see a lot of Torbjorn players sit down on their turret, nonstop hit it with a hammer, and make sure that that turret will not go down and, you know, protect it as much as it can. But that is the reason for great positioning and, you know, replacing your turret, because it can build your charge, it can break, but you can always replace it after that 8-second cooldown. If you have your turret up, and like I said before, your turret is literally like the 7th hero. It can watch everything from the back line, anything that touches the point. It is literally the 7th hero. The turret watching the back line and the point, you can literally go in and deal out DPS as Torbjorn. Yes, as Torbjorn, you can deal out DPS. And I don't mean go right on the front lines and get right in their face. I'm saying stay a little bit away from your turret, so if it does get hurt, you can come back and repair it. but don't always stay on top of your turret. You can go mid-range, you know, lay out that DPS, shoot your rivet gun, you know, your scatter, get a little bit of ult charge, come back if your turret has got hit, repair it up. That is the way you should play Torbjorn. Don't sit on your turret and babysit it the whole time. Last but not least, tip number 5, using your ult. Molten Core is super effective on points and on chokeholds, but knowing when to use it is key. When using Molten Core, it can be in your advantage to leave your turret and go on the offensive. Like I said before, don't babysit your turret. The turret itself will raise to 800 in Molten Core state. This will make it even tougher to destroy when it's focused. Meanwhile, your own HP will be raised to 500, and you gain increased attack speed, turning you into a formidable threat. Just be careful not to overextend, because if you die during Molten Core, your turret's going to lose all its bonus damage and HP. Molten Core fully heals your turret and increases the HP to 800, and so it can be effective at defending your turret and killing the enemies who are attacking it. There's no limit on how far away your turret can be when you activate Molten Core, so you can use it anytime, even after respawning, while you are walking back to the front line. I like using Molten Core when the attacking team dives onto the point only after Winston and D.Va's barrier and defense matrix are down. And like I said before, don't babysit your turret. If your turret's at 800 and you're at 500 HP and you have the increased attack speed, go help your team for that 12 seconds in the fight. The Molten Core will keep you alive as long as you keep that damage up, taking out key targets and slowly making your way from the front line back to a safe distance. I also like using Molten Core when the enemy team uses their ults. Say it's a Pharah, Soldier, Genji, McCree. Pop that Molten Core and they're going to be focus fired by your turret. They're not going to have the HP to even sustain the damage incoming from your turret, and they're going to have to back out of the fight, wasting their ult trying to take on your turret. And one more thing that you should be aware of is that Zarya can gain charge from your Molten Core, D.Va can suck up all the bullets, and Lucio and Zenyatta can counter your ult with theirs. Alright guys, so that is my top 5 tips for Torbjorn. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like and or subscribe for more. Till next time guys, see ya.